and thank you for joining me today. I'm Brandon Locks. I'd like to welcome you to my documentary on Pixar Studios. We'll be talking about a variety of things today, including how Pixar came to be, and, in my opinion, the top 3 greatest Pixar movies of all time. So I'll tell you what, let's get started.
The story of how Pixar came to be can be put simply as 3 different men coming together to form one of the most popular studios in history. John Lasseter always had the dream of working at Walt Disney Animation Studios and achieved that dream just after his graduation from the California Institute of the Arts. At Disney, Lasseter had an idea of making an animated film using computer graphics. He pitched this idea to Disney executives, to which they responded with, "We'll consider using computers for animation if it will make it faster or cheaper." Not long after, Lasseter was fired from Disney. At an industry event, Lasseter met a man named Ed Catmull. Catmull was hired by George Lucas to create a film and digital sound editing system, and is responsible for common principles of computer animation. For example, the Z-buffer, texture mapping, and subdivision services. He basically created 3D graphics as we know it. Lasseter joined Catmull after bonding over the same dream of making the first fully CGI movie. This was in 1983, 12 years before their dream coming true. But in order for their dream to come true, first they needed money. Catmull looked for an investor and finally discovered a businessman named Steve Jobs. Jobs was working at a newly founded company called Next and was called out to see if he wanted to invest in Pixar. He liked it and he bought Pixar from George Lucas for $5 million and invested another $5 to keep Pixar going. But Pixar, now struggling, sold off their technology and looked to animate adverts for different companies. They finally created the Pixar short called Tin Toy and got their name out by winning the Academy Award in 1988. Lasseter was then asked by Disney to come back to work for them, but felt devoted to Pixar as it was just kicking off. Pixar asked Disney to help them publish a movie called Toy Story, because they needed help with marketing and distribution. Wanting to differentiate Pixar from Disney, they came to the agreement of no songs, stereotypical happy village, love story, or villain. Disney interfered with the movie, and when it was pitched, ended up hating it. So in result, Lasseter got a small team and made the story how he originally wanted to. Production was running smoothly again after the second pitch, and he spent the next 5 years creating Toy Story. The movie grossed $192 million domestically and $362 million worldwide, but due to Disney having all rights to merchandise, Pixar was still barely afloat financially, but managed to secure another 5-movie deal with Disney based off the success of their second film. Pixar's second movie, A Bug's Life, won the best animation of its year, and then Disney signed the contract. After years of success, Steve Jobs sold Pixar to Disney for a massive sum of $7.4 billion. Jobs was now the largest shareholder at Disney. Lasseter was the chief creating officer of Disney and Pixar, and Catmull was the president of Disney and Pixar. This is my top 3 favourite Pixar movies. Number 3, Monsters Inc. This comes in at number 3 due to the story having a weirdly easy way to be followed. Mike and Sully need to get a little girl home and along the way discover that the happy laughs of a child triumph over the sad screams of one in terms of energy. Also, the casting of John Goodman and Billy Crystal as the main characters, along with the jazzy theme music, helped solidify its place in at least everyone's top 5. Number 2, The Incredibles. This comes in at number 2 due to the characters, retro 50s feel, and an unforgettable theme tune. A super family live in a world where being super isn't allowed, but they break the rules in order to save the world. The perfect casting of Craig T. Nelson and Samuel Jackson, plus the way that a movie so adventurous can still be the story of a family, equals one of the best superhero films of all time. Number 1, Ratatouille. This lands in at my number 1 spot because of the way Pixar created the best possible combination of music, story, and characters to suit a theme. The story of a rat that wants to be a chef in Paris expresses Pixar's story of how defying all odds came to be a reality. When a cartoon movie manages to make you feel hungry for food that you don't even like, is there any chance that it is anything but perfection?
Now, I think we have about finished. It's that easy. Now let's take a little bright red and sign this little rascal. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd love to hear some feedback. So if you have the time, write it, send it to us, let us hear from you. And until then, from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy hearing, and God bless, my friend.